Today, I'll be drawing every single Dandy's World toon if they were human. And Twisteds, of course. This is gonna be a long one, so be sure to tune in until the very end, and maybe I'll draw Dandy's World OCs next. First up is Poppy. Poppy is one of the many playable toons in Dandy's World, appearing as a small bubble girl with a big pink bow on her head, as well as a bubble in the back resembling a ponytail. She also wears a pink dress paired with pink and yellow striped socks. She's described as having a very positive and bubbly personality, enjoying socializing with other toons. Because Poppy is a beginner character, unlike many other toons, she does not possess any crazy abilities, but she is good for those starting out. However, this isn't the only version of Poppy you'll see. While playing around in the game, you'll most likely stumble upon Twisted Poppy, who is basically a corrupted version of herself. She appears with her dress and pink bow now being torn, along with an ink-like substance covering several parts of her body. Her eyes are now bloodshot red, with her smile now being a frown. Needless to say, Poppy no longer looks like her usual self. There is a twisted version of each character in the game, with Poppy being one of the most common that you'll see. When a Twisted spots you, they will chase you, and it's in your best interest to get away from them as soon as possible, or else you may be killed. Once you finally complete the puzzles on the map, you quickly make it to the elevator and move on to the next floor. Going back to the Twisteds, apparently this black substance is called ichor, and it's the game's form of currency. Weird, right? But that's not all. Ichor is what actually causes toons to transform into Twisteds. How exactly this happens is currently unknown. Since Poppy is described to have a bubbly personality, I was sure to match that in my drawing. I drew her human hair to look similar to her bubble hair, and also gave her a swirled ponytail that holds the shape of a circle, as well as her dress having a little more pizzazz, with a yellow ribbon in the middle to match with her striped gloves. And don't worry, of course, I didn't forget about Poppy's twisted form. Here is human Poppy. Next up is Goob. His full name is Goob the Fluffy Craft, but I'll just call him Goob. Goob appears as a thing. I'm not entirely sure what he's supposed to be, but all I can find is that he is simply described as a humanoid craft. And also, he has a sister named Scraps made of paper. This silly guy has a square-shaped head with a cute and goofy facial expression, along with many tufts of fur, so we can assume he may resemble an animal of some sort. His torso is bean-shaped with stripes on his legs. The most prominent feature of his design is his very long noodle-like arms, which are so long that they touch the floor. His hands are red and blue with opposite colored claws, as well as him having red and blue freckles on his cheeks. His personality is described as innocent and joyful, as he enjoys giving friends hugs to make them feel better, and he's easily excited. So basically, Goob acts like a little kid. His special ability is called Hug, being able to pull other toons towards him with his long arms. This can be used to help them get away from a Twisted, or to pull a friend closer to the elevator quickly when time is running out. He is also one of the fastest toons in the entire game. In his Twisted form, Goob no longer has a joyful expression on his face. Instead, he almost looks to be in pain, having a very distraught facial expression. Just like Poppy, his eyes are now red, and his teeth are spiked. Ichor can be seen leaking from his eyes, giving the impression Goob is crying. His claws are also now much longer in his Twisted form, and his fur is now sharp. Unlike Poppy, Twisted Goob is rare, and not surprisingly, he is also much harder to escape, as when he spots you, he stretches out his long noodle arms and grabs you with his claws, quickly pulling you towards him, allowing him to instantly attack you, which is pretty scary. When escaping him, you need to be a little more strategic. He can try to grab you every 10 seconds, and the only way to avoid being grabbed is hiding behind objects to block him from doing so. This means being in large, spacious rooms is a no-no, and it's best to stay in areas with more objects to hide behind. Goob is for sure one of my favorite characters, and I love his goofy vibes. He reminds me of my cat Mocha. For his human form, I drew Goob with scruffy hair and a cute goofy facial expression. His sweater is oversized, the sleeves going over his hands to resemble those long noodle arms. Paired with that are some black overall shorts. And I couldn't resist making his eyes blue and red. Here is human Goob. The third toon on this list is Tisha. Tisha the Tissue Box is another toon in Dandy's World, appearing as a cyan box with a tissue sticking out of her head. Her dress is dark blue with a light blue trim, as well as a tissue tucked in the collar of her dress. She has many freckles on her face, and also is accompanied by a feather duster held in her hand. Tisha is a character who enjoys cleaning, and loves it so much to the point of being obsessed with it. In fact, most of her interactions with the other toons is talking about cleaning, like all the time. Always wanting everything to be spotless, she hates dirty things, and when stuff is unorganized. Other characters have shown concern for Tisha's obsessive cleaning habits, telling her she really needs to take a break. She also scolds others to clean their room. She really just sounds like a tired mom. She should go up against that one TikTok cleaner. She's a great support character, and her ability is Tidy Up, which increases the movement speed of toons around her by 25% for 5 seconds. Another common Twisted you'll see is Twisted Tisha, who appears holding a feather duster covered in ichor. Her eyes are red, with ichor dripping from her mouth as well as her tissue, which appears appears to have been torn up and now spiked, with Tisha having a rather psychotic facial expression. Just like Twisted Poppy, she does not possess any special abilities. However, she does have a 10-second idle time when she decides to stop and sweep the floor, which can be kind of annoying if she's camping a machine that you need to get to, so it's best to have someone who will distract her. In this form, she looks like she wants to murder anyone and anything who isn't clean. I'm sorry, Tisha, I promise I'll clean my room. Jokes aside, Tisha is my absolute favorite character in the game because her design is so adorable. I wonder if anyone has tried to blow their nose on her. Her hair is styled with straight bangs and pigtails, and I designed her dress to look more like a maid outfit and more formal, along with the tissue on her head now being a maid headband. Tisha actually does have a skin that is a maid outfit, which makes so much sense since she enjoys cleaning. She's wearing Scion socks and cleaning gloves while holding her feather duster. I had a lot of fun making her twisted version as well. Here is human Tisha. Don't forget to clean your room. Coming up is Cosmo. Cosmo the pastry appears as a chocolate roll cake with colorful sprinkles and icing on top. He wears a sleeveless white hoodie paired with colorful socks to match his sprinkle freckles. As his introduction card reads, Cosmo is great in the kitchen and he loves baking treats for his friends. He's best friends with Sprout and is very generous. So reading this, we can see Cosmo is a very sweet and caring character, always being considerate of others. His special ability is called Sharing is Caring, where he can give one of his own hearts to heal someone else. So he's a great support character. His stats are also great aside from his skill check. Twisted Cosmo can be seen with Ecor covering the entire left side of his face, as well as crying Ecor from his right eye. His left hand is also covered in this substance, now having long sharp claws. His eyes are red and slightly different from all the other Twisteds, having an extra ring around his pupil. His teeth are very sharp. In Twisted Cosmo's research, it states that Cosmo being separated from his best friend has caused him to chase others down, so we can assume he's very distraught and lonely. I actually feel really bad for Twisted Cosmo. He doesn't deserve this. Free my boy. Since Cosmo is a Swiss roll, I drew him with swirly styled hair, along with some white strands to resemble the icing, and still included those cute sprinkles on his cheeks, but now they're stickers. He's wearing a short sleeve white hoodie with a colorful striped shirt underneath, and matching pants. And of course, he's holding a tray of yummy cookies. In his twisted version, I added more Ecor to amp up the creepy factor. Here's human Cosmo from Dandy's World. Next on this list is Shelly. Shelly Fossilian, also known as just Shelly, is not only a playable toon, but also one of the 5 main characters in Dandy's World. These types of toons usually have more requirements to obtain than other normal toons, and also tend to have the best stats, and in the lore, are the main characters in the Dandy's World show. Shelly appears as an Ammonite shell with a beige color, along with orange blush on her cheeks, and wearing a dark brown overall dress with a light brown shirt underneath. She's a very extroverted toon, as well as being very kind, always cheering other toons on and staying positive. She also has a very strong interest in dinosaurs and loves talking about them with others. Shelly is a little bit different from everyone else though, as she is often described as a forgotten toon and is said to be heavily ignored compared to the other toons. This could mean she is the most forgotten main character in the Dandy's World show, not being very popular. She is also very surprised when approached by other toons, implying she is so used to being ignored that she doesn't even expect anyone to talk to her. In Shelly's twisted form, she now has a psychotic facial expression with wide red eyes and sharp teeth. She appears as one of the more disturbing looking Twisteds, her torso separated from her legs, exposing a large spiked rib cage. Her legs are now dinosaur legs, as well as having a dinosaur tail in the back. Ecor spills from several parts of her body, as well as her shell head. Her twisted form is very disturbingly tall, and this seems to be a reoccurring theme with many main Twisteds. This thing running at you is terrifying. When she chased me, I wanted to poop my pants. Her twisted research reads, the blatant ignorance of her existence by everyone around her has enraged her, meaning Shelly was so neglected by everyone around her that she just couldn't take it anymore. Well, people definitely aren't annoying her now. When Twisted Shelly appears on your floor, her presence makes every toon extract slower, which is definitely a pain, especially for those who already extract slow to begin with. But Shelly the toon has some of the most solid stats out of any character in the game, so she's a great option. And she has 2 abilities. Her ability Inspiration allows her to boost the extraction speed of a selected toon by 75% for 15 seconds. Her second ability, Problem Solver, makes her gain 25% movement speed boost when any machine is completed for 10 seconds. So needless to say, she's a great toon. I drew Shelly with a short haircut with swirl designs to resemble the shape of her shell head, and I kept her outfit mostly the same, but adding a couple extra details, like a patch on her overall dress and buttons on the straps. And of course, I drew her holding a mini dinosaur. Her twisted version was a bit of a challenge to put together, but hey, I definitely got the creepy factor down. Here is human Shelly. Make way for Shrimpo. And no, he is not for eating. Shrimpo the shrimp appears as a little dude with a shrimp for a head, along with a very angry look on his face. He's wearing a red shirt with a single white stripe, and yeah, his design is pretty simple, but also one of my absolute favorites in the game. Shrimpo can be described with a single word, angry, because that is his entire personality. Proof, you say? Literally all of his dialogue. Every single encounter that Shrimpo has with another toon is him being very angry at them and throwing any insult their way he can possibly think of. He always talks in all caps, insinuating that he is constantly yelling. He would definitely get banned from a Roblox restaurant. He hates just about everything. He hates the toons, he hates elevators, machines, Poppy's bow, everything. My favorite Shrimpo dialogue is when he called Astro Badstro. Chef's kiss. Twisted Shrimpo is another common twisted. He appears with ichor covering the entire bottom half of his face, the top of his head, and his hands, as well as having red eyes. But I think we all really know why Shrimpo is so angry. He is the worst character to play as in the game because his stats are so bad. Even the game itself tells you not to buy him unless you're looking for a challenge. He has a 1 star in every single category, and it's no surprise that a lot of people don't want you on their team if you're a Shrimpo. Hey, if I was created with such bad stats, I'd be mad too. I drew Shrimpo wearing a shrimp hat along with a scruffy white haircut. He's wearing a tank top with red and white stripes, as well as a pair of orange shorts. He's got his arms crossed because of course he's an angry little guy. I know Shrimpo isn't underage, at least I don't think, but I like to imagine him as an angry little kid who got his iPad taken away. Anyways, here is human Shrimpo. Last but not least is Dandy. Dandy is a toon in Dandy's World that actually isn't playable. Well, unless you're an admin. His full name is Dandicus Dancifer. That's a long name. He appears as a small humanoid flower, having rainbow flower petals, as well as having mint green arms and legs, with there also being mint colored blush on his cheeks. You'll always see Dandy as a shopkeeper, sitting inside the shop in the lobby room, and you can make purchases from him for things like toons, trinkets, skins, and game passes. He also appears in the elevator, where you can purchase items from him after every other round. While Dandy often comes off as joyful and kind like many other toons, it's very clear he has something to hide. When Dandy appears in the elevator with his shop open, he is always expecting players to make a purchase. When you don't buy from him for the first time, he simply smiles and waves, expecting you'll buy the second time. But every time the player declines to purchase from his shop, Dandy becomes more and more visibly frustrated, until finally, he snaps, eventually appearing as his twisted counterpart in the game. Dandy's twisted form is visibly much larger in comparison to normal, with his eyes now being red and having a wide smile with sharp teeth, his face looking very psychotic. His body is now a completely different shape, having structure very similar to a horse, with film tape wrapped around his body, the bottom half completely covered in ichor. His hands are now massive, with rainbow colored claws matching his flower petals, and his flower petals on his head are now more pointed. Twisted Dandy not only looks insanely different in comparison to other Twisteds, but he is also lethal, meaning if you get hit by him once, you die, making him the only lethal Twisted in the entire game. Not only that, but once a machine is finished, he quickly goes after it. So when you finish a machine on a Dandy run, you'd best get out of there quickly. So needless to say, Twisted Dandy is very dangerous and should not be taken lightly. After his twisted form appears, he resets and pretends like nothing happened. Many people believe Dandy himself to be a possible antagonist in Dandy's World, and possibly even evil. Considering it's literally called Dandy's World, we can assume he has control over most things. And it's theorized that he may have done something questionable with the ichor operation, which is what turns toons into Twisteds to begin with. Despite this, it has still been confirmed by the creator that Dandy is not evil, rather he is just in the quote-unquote morally gray area. So he's probably done some bad things, but he isn't evil. Strangely enough, it appears as though Dandy chooses to ignore some of the main toons, but remains close with Astro. This is implied in some of the dialogues, like the one between V and Sprout. Why he chooses to ignore these toons is currently unknown. Dandy is a very interesting character, and I really hope we get to learn more about him soon. For his human design, I drew and colored his hair to resemble his flower petals. Since Dandy is, I guess you could say, the host of the entire game and the show, I feel like he'd definitely stand out more from the rest. So I went for a more formal approach on his clothes. He's wearing a vest with a mint green undershirt, also decorated with flower petal cuffs on the ends of his sleeves. He's wearing a flower tie with white and green stripes, and pants to match. Twisted Dandy was definitely a bit of a challenge to piece together with his human design, but I think I pulled it off pretty well, and it's definitely creepy. Here is human Dandy. Don't let him find you. First up on this list, we've got Boxton. Boxton the Music Box is one of the 2 available starter tunes in Dandy's World, right beside Poppy. Though, if you do choose Poppy instead, you can buy Boxton later on for 250 Ichor. By the way, I got a lot of comments on my last video telling me I said Ichor wrong. Apparently, it's Ichor and not Echor. I get it, so stop bullying me. Anyways, Boxton appears as a purple music box with a key on the back of his head, and a somewhat shy-looking facial expression. A blue bandana is tied around his neck, and his pants are the same color blue, with darker blue stripes. His personality is described as very shy and introverted, frequently stuttering when he speaks. And it's apparent Boxton often overthinks things and worries a lot, as seen in many of his interactions with the other toons. Twisted Boxton is another very common twisted you'll come across in Dandy's World. In his twisted form, Boxton's music box lid is now wide open, showing ichor leaking from the top. He wears a sinister smile on his face with sharp teeth, and his eyes are now red. 2 arms comprised of ichor can be seen reaching out of his head, as if they're in search for prey. Moving back to normal Boxton, he has decent stats in every category, making him a good all-rounder toon just like Poppy. And Boxton's ability, Wind Up, makes him gain 6% more extraction speed for every toon alive in the round, so he's very useful if you're in a lobby full of other players. For his human design, I drew Boxton with purple scruffy hair and included a wind-up key hairpin. I turned his striped blue pants into baggy arm warmers, and he's wearing a purple shirt and shorts, along with a blue tie in the middle. I included a band-aid on his face, cause I imagine Boxton to be a bit clumsy, and of course I drew him in a cute shy pose. And don't worry, I didn't forget about his twisted form. He went from cute and shy to straight up nightmare fuel, and the top of his head is sliced off, so that's cool. Here is human Boxton. Next up is Scraps. Scraps, the paper craft, appears to be made almost completely out of paper, also heavily resembling a cat. She has a hexagon-shaped head with triangle ears on top, as well as circular red hands and feet with claws. Her dress is an upside-down cupcake liner, and her tail also has a plastic cup on the end. 2 red lines can be seen on both of her eyes. Scraps loves making crafts and artwork, and overall is a very kind toon, caring for others, especially her little brother Goob. She's also described as somewhat airheaded, and maybe a bit immature at times, but nonetheless she's a great friend. Twisted Scraps, on the other hand, is a very rare type of twisted, appearing with now more grayed out skin, and her ears being much more long and sharp. Her facial expression is a psychotic wide smile, with very sharp teeth, and red eyes with cat-like pupils. Her claws are now sharper as well as her dress, and the plastic cup on her tail has now split down in the middle, having transformed into a reptile-like mouth with fangs. Ichor can be seen on several parts of her body. This twisted is very rare, and despite having played many times, I've only encountered her twice. However, when she does appear, her twisted form should definitely be avoided, as similar to Twisted Goob, her ability allows her to attack toons even from far away. When she spots you, she can quickly send her tail towards you, hitting you and taking a heart away. Because her attacks are so long range, it's best to stay near islands and other objects to circle around, so she doesn't get the chance to reach you with that freaky tail. Luckily, her speed is very slow, and is still easier to get away from than Twisted Goob. In terms of stats, Scraps has the best stamina out of basically any of the other toons. However, the rest of her stats are pretty average, her speed and skill check being below average. I still got to floor 11 by myself using Scraps for the first time, so she definitely isn't a bad toon. You just gotta know what you're doing. Plus, her pastel paper skin is literally the cutest in the entire game. Her ability Crafty Grapple allows her to use her tail to pull herself towards other toons, which can be great in escaping twisteds and getting to the elevator faster. I drew Scraps with a short swoopy hairstyle, and she's wearing a headband with paper cat ears. Her cupcake liner dress is now turned into a doll type dress with cross-style ribbons on the sides. Since she's a human, I turned her plastic cup tail into a cute little bell around her neck, and she's wearing red gloves as well as triangle earrings. Here is human Scraps. Coming up is Joyride. Glisten. Glisten the Mirror is a toon who has a light gold mirror head with a swirl at the top resembling hair, as well as pink blush on his cheeks. A big pink bow is tied around his waist, somewhat resembling wings. He also wears white leg warmers, decorated with pink spots. Glisten is a very prideful toon with a big ego, always boasting about his own greatness and achievements, calling himself perfect. But under this persona, we eventually see Glisten is not as perfect as he claims to be. This is clearly seen in one of his interactions with Toodles, where she exposes him for crying and venting to Roger about his problems. This results in Glisten quickly ending the conversation due to being insecure. In the end, despite his big ego, he is still a very good friend to the other toons. However, Glisten's interactions with the other toons isn't the only thing that exposes his deep insecurities, as when you meet Twisted Glisten, his perfect persona really cracks, literally. This Twisted is very unique from all the others, as he has 2 forms. His first form is his passive form, where he can be seen with a giant crack in his mirror and smudged makeup on his face. His torso is now split in half, revealing a mass of ichor in the middle, and we can see both his hands hands are now tied together by his pink ribbon, also being stained with ichor. His facial expression appears desperate and afraid. Surprisingly enough, in this form, he doesn't actually hurt you. Instead, he can be seen roaming around the map, crying out for help, asking for other toons to come and comfort him, as he is on the brink of insanity. And it's also confirmed Twisted Glisten tied his own hands together with a ribbon to prevent himself from hurting the other toons. This makes it seem like Twisted Glisten is the first Twisted to be fully aware of his situation, and he's the only one who's actually able to speak with players. In this passive form, a meter can be seen above him, and a player needs to stay near Glisten to make sure he doesn't reach 100. At 50, he gives a second and final warning to players when no one is with him, saying that he can't be alone. When he finally reaches 100%, Glisten screams that he can't take it anymore, and enters enraged mode, his hands breaking free and he's now crying ichor. This causes him to run around the map, and when he spots you, he becomes insanely fast. The vast majority of toons cannot outrun Twisted Glisten, so if you get spotted by him, good luck. And if he doesn't transform by that point, he still transforms when the last machine is finished, screaming, "Wait, no, don't leave me." This shows us Glisten's true colors, and behind his perfect facade, he's actually terrified of being alone, and cares deeply about his friends. Twisted Glisten makes me so sad, and the fact that he had to tie his own hands together because he was afraid of hurting us is heartbreaking. Anyways, moving back to Toon Glisten, he's a great extractor, having 5-star extraction speed with a decent movement speed and stamina. Glisten's ability is also great because it allows him to teleport to other toons. Because Glisten really cares about his appearance, I went for the more fancy approach. He's wearing glossy pink eyeshadow, because we already know Glisten loves doing his makeup. And I also put a pink bow on his collar to match with his bigger bow around his waist, which is tied around a fashionable jumper suit he's wearing. He has arm warmers and white socks, and you know I had to make him holding a mirror cause hey, he always needs to make sure he looks perfect. I was so sad drawing his twisted form. I know his face isn't glass in my drawing, but I made it cracked anyway. Here is human Glisten. Here comes Gigi. Gigi the Gachapon is a toon in Dandy's World with a gachapon for a head, and wearing an oversized light blue sweater with sleeves that cover her hands, and a yellow star in the middle. Her skin is red with darker red accents, and she appears to have a smug look on her face. For anyone not knowing what it is, a gachapon is one of these. They're basically capsule toys that can be found in vending machines when you insert a coin, and to get a mystery gachapon toy. I loved these things as a kid. She's described as a chill and laid back toon, but she also enjoys teasing her friends and having fun. Gigi loves collecting things, and may even have a bit of a hoarding problem. Judging in one of their interactions, Tisha didn't even want to hang out with Gigi until she cleaned her room, which was full of stuff. And in a conversation with V, it's revealed Gigi likes collecting items to keep to herself and not leaving any items for the other toons. So yeah, she may like collecting stuff a little too much. Twisted Gigi is another rare Twisted, with an especially disturbing appearance compared to others. The top of her gachapon head is now broken open, revealing ichor inside her head and leaking out. A large claw completely made out of ichor reaches out from her head, and she can be seen crawling on the floor, which looks insanely creepy, having ichor stains on her sleeves. Her facial expression is sinister, and her eyes are notably different from other Twisteds, with being red and having star pupils rather than circles. It's a good thing this Twisted is rare and not common, because she is especially annoying compared to others, as her ability allows her to take any item she wants from your inventory if her big claw reaches you. And it doesn't help that she can reach from far away, and she's kind of fast, so getting away from her isn't easy. On the other hand, if you don't have any items, she'll simply attack you and take a heart away. I've had 2 med kits and a band-aid in my inventory, and Gigi stole all of them, and then she got me down to 1 heart. So yeah, this is why people hate getting Twisted Gigi on their floor. She basically ruins everything. Gigi is a toon with fairly good stats, having a 5-star skill check with average speed and stealth, but lacking in stamina. Her ability, Surprise, allows her to grant herself a random item of any kind, which can be useful, especially if you find yourself in a pinch when you've ran out of items. I gave Gigi long red hair, and turned her gachapon head into a gachapon-styled baseball cap. Her original sweater is now a sweater dress, paired with red socks on her legs. I also gave her gachapon earrings, and a cute star purse to match with her shirt. Here is human Gigi. Next on this list is Roger. Roger the Magnifying Glass appears as a light brown magnifier with a singular eye in the middle. He wears a black suit with dark purple accents and a purple band around the handle of his head. Roger is a detective who enjoys discovering secrets and learning. When talking to other toons, he'll often ask them questions and even ask them for full-on interviews. He's a more level-headed and logical toon compared to the rest, which also makes it safe to assume he may be older than everyone else due to his more mature nature. In fact, Roger loves learning so much that he's even willing to do an interview with Shrimpo, despite how unpleasant it is to be around him. His twisted form is a different story. Unlike regular Twisteds, Roger cannot exactly be seen at first, as he is under disguise. That's because he hides within a fake research capsule on the ground. If a toon makes the mistake of touching one of these capsules, Twisted Roger will emerge. In this form, he appears with a red eye, which is now wide open, and his legs are completely submerged in ichor. Ichor can also be seen on his handle, and he's holding the fake capsule in his right hand. When you open a fake capsule with Twisted Roger, slow and confusion is applied to the player, making it harder to get away from him. Luckily though, Twisted Roger is unable to move and remains in place, so as long as you get out of his sight fast enough, you'll be fine. Soon after, he'll go back into the capsule when he loses interest. It's pretty easy to tell these capsules apart though. Real ones have straps in the middle, while the fake ones don't. Overall, Roger is a pretty solid toon, having 4-star extraction speed, but only 2-star movement speed, and the rest of his stats are average. Roger is also a very great toon to play as if you're trying to collect research on Twisteds, as his ability allows him to gain twice as much research as the average toon when picking up capsules and encountering Twisteds. I imagine Roger to be a bit on the older side, like not an old man, but more middle-aged, so I gave him that matured look. He's wearing a similar outfit to his original, with some added details. His hair is short and scruffy, and I also included a fancy hat. In one of his interactions with Poppy, he mentioned wanting a monocle, so I gave him one. Since Roger only has one eye, I wanted to incorporate that in some way, so I made him blind in his right eye, but I realized I made him hold his magnifying glass up to his blind eye. Oops. Try to forget I did that. Here is Human Roger. Last but not least is Astro. Full name Astro Novalite appears with a light blue crescent moon on the left side of his face, with the other side being pitch black. One of his eyes is a star, while the other is normal. He wears a purplish blue sleeping cap, as well as a blanket wrapped around his body. His legs are also light blue. Astro is one of the 5 main toons in Dandy's World. His personality described as being quiet and somewhat antisocial towards those he is not close with. However, despite being reserved, he still very much cares for the other toons. Twisted Astro is also a very dangerous and very rare type of Twisted, much bigger and taller. His eyes are now red, and he can be seen crying ichor. His blanket is no longer covering him, revealing he has 4 long arms. His hat is also now much longer than before, and ichor can be seen on several parts of his body. As Twisted Astro roams the map, his giant footsteps can be heard, as well as many eerie sounds. His speed is above average, as well as his detection range and his attention span being much higher than an iPad kid. If a toon misses a skill check on a machine, Twisted Astro will be alerted, causing him to actually take progress away from your machine. This is especially annoying if you're a toon with rather slow extraction speed, so definitely try to hit those skill checks. When he spots you, he'll hit you with the tired effect, making your stamina regeneration 75% slower, which can make getting away from him much harder. In his Twisted research, it stated Astro has been overwhelmed by guilt and despair. Does this mean Astro was guilty of something bad? Who knows? However, Astro is unique from all of the other main toons, as it's implied he has a closer relationship with Dandy than any other, as heavily implied from dialogue with Sprout and V, complaining that Dandy won't speak with them, but does so with Astro. An animation played on TV in some of the maps also imply they are good friends, showing Astro and Dandy interacting with each other. I really hope we get to learn more about these two soon. Astro is the stealthiest toon of the bunch, and also has good stats in everything, with the exception of below average skill check. His first ability, Well Rested, allows him to fully restore the stamina of toons near him, and his second ability allows him to regenerate stamina twice as fast, as well as being able to see toons with low stamina around the map. With his human design, I stuck closely to the original. His hair is light blue, and I gave him a tired facial expression since Astro is all about sleep. I turned his blanket into a long cloak, and underneath he's wearing blue and white striped pajamas. Here is Human Astro. First up is Ginger. Ginger is a brand new toon that was just released for the Christmas event. She's a light brown gingerbread cookie, missing the left side of her face. Yeah, sorry, I was hungry. Her hair is made of white frosting, with cute red candy sprinkles throughout. She wears a striped red shirt, paired with pink and white striped leggings. Her stats are average, with good stealth but a slower movement speed. And just like Cosmo, her ability allows her to heal injured toons by giving one of her own hearts. So she's a survivalist and a healer toon. Plus, unlike Cosmo, she has a wider healing range. Quell also confirmed that Ginger is actually Cosmo's cousin, which makes so much sense because they're both sweets. Just like Cosmo and Sprout, she enjoys baking, also being very artistic when decorating sweets. Her personality is kind and caring, but also a bit shy. Twisted Ginger, on the other hand, is not so sweet. Ichor now leaks from the missing area of her head, and we can also see half of her arm has been torn off. Her makeup is now smudged, now having a frown with spiky teeth and bloodshot red eyes. Her red sprinkles are replaced with bits of ichor, and is also covering most of her hair. When she spots you, she begins to cry ichor and open her mouth, as if she's crying for help. While Ginger is the slowest Twisted in the entire game, the real problem is her attention span. Ginger's attention span span is extremely high, sitting at 10 whole seconds. So if you're spotted, you'll be looping around islands for quite a while before you get her off you. Me and my friends hate getting Twisted Ginger because it feels like it's impossible to get her away. I've gone to the whole other side of the map, and Twisted Ginger still chases me. This Twisted also makes distracting much harder, because since she's so slow, she doesn't keep up with other Twisteds that are chasing you, resulting in distracting her being much harder to maintain. My team tried so hard to distract her, but it just didn't work out. So it's best to avoid her as much as possible. Then she won't become a problem. Fun fact, before it got nerfed, her attention span used to be 25 seconds. So I'm still internally grateful they changed it, even though 10 seconds is kind of excessive. For her human design, I decided her hair would be covering half of her face. Cause let's be honest, if half of her head was gone as a human, she would probably be dead. Well, unless she's like Brud. I love Ginger's design. She's easily one of the cutest toons so far, especially her minty pine skin. She's wearing a gingerbread hair clip, and I turned her shirt into a cute Christmas dress with a fluffy white trim, paired with cute arm gloves to match her leggings. There's also a ribbon with peppermint on her collar. Of course, I had to draw her holding a cookie. Here is human Ginger. Next up, we've got Bobbit. Bobbit is a red-colored bauble with decorative patterns on her face, and is wearing a green-colored Christmas sweater topped off with a fluffy white trim. She's also confirmed to have a chubbier body type compared to other toons, and is also officially a main toon, which really caught everyone by surprise. Her stats are pretty great with awesome skill check and stamina, good movement speed, but below average extraction and stealth, so it's good to have extraction trinkets for this toon. Her first ability allows her to become invincible, but unable to move for 8 seconds by hiding in a Christmas box, and her second ability regens other toon stamina around her 50% faster. So yeah, very useful abilities. She's very cheerful and friendly towards other toons, and it's clear by many of her dialogues that she loves Christmas and wrapping gifts for her friends. Meanwhile, Twisted Bobbit is terrifying. Just like other mains, you'll know right away if she's on your floor by hearing footsteps and Christmas jingles. Twisted Bobbit is massive, being probably the tallest Twisted in the game, towering over the player. I think she might be as big or even bigger than Dandy. She appears with her bobblehead now broken open, revealing a massive eye core inside, and whatever this pointy thing is. She's still smiling, but her smile is disturbing to say the least. Her arms and legs are nearly completely covered in eye core, with the arms nearly reaching the floor and her hands having very long claws. When chasing you, her footsteps are very loud and fast, and her pupils look down at the player, which is so creepy. Her Twisted is very fast and also somewhat hard to shake off when she spots you. Not only is Twisted Bobbit much larger than other Twisteds, but there's another twist. When you pick up an item, Bobbit will dash towards your area to come and find you, so you gotta get out of there fast, just like how Dandy runs towards a machine when finished. So you may be better off not picking up items when she's on your floor, besides capsules, unless she's already preoccupied chasing someone else, or if you're really brave. Her Twisted research reads, created to craft toys for everyone has left her envious, leading her to break into full sprint if someone picks up an item in hopes of catching whoever was being greedy. So I guess this is like kind of an evil Santa Claus? Fun fact, the first day Bobbit came out, there was an error where Twisted Bobbit could appear twice on the same floor. Imagine two of these chasing you. For her human form, Bobbit has red hair with a cute bun on the back of her head. I also added some Christmas lights in her hair to imitate the original patterns on her head. That, and I could 100% imagine Bobbit actually putting Christmas lights on herself and probably singing that one Mariah Carey song. It's crazy Christmas fans. I turned her sweater into a sweater dress with long sleeves over the hands to complement her bubbly, carefree personality. And she's wearing Christmas socks below. On her ears, I also added some cute bauble earrings. Here is human Bobbit. Now let's draw Bobbit's dog, Cole. Cole is quite literally just a giant chunk of coal, with a very long forehead and a cute angry looking face below. Bags can be seen under her eyes, as well as Christmas symbols on her cheeks. Red earmuff-like bags can also be seen on each side of her head, along with a flag on top. And yes, Cole is a girl, as proven through dialogue with Bobbit. I remember in my first video everyone yelled at me for calling Cosmo a boy. Guys, Cosmo is a guy. Guys can be cute cake rolls too, you know. While we don't currently have too much info on Cole's personality, she definitely gives off grumpy vibes. And just like Pebble, she can't speak, but bark. Or should I say, woof. Cole has good stats, with 4-star movement and stamina, good stealth, but below average skill check and extraction speed. Her ability also allows her to highlight items around the map for a total of 10 seconds. She's very similar to Pebble because of this ability, and her stats point towards her being a pretty good distractor for the team. Well, as long as Britney doesn't get in the way. However, Twisted Cole is a nightmare, and she kinda looks like one too. Her anatomy is significantly different from from before. And honestly, out of any Twisted, I think she looks the most different from her Toon counterpart. Like Twisted Pebble, she has 2 hind legs, but much shorter. She also now has a more defined canine-shaped head, along with sharp fangs, pointed ears, and red eyes. The bags that used to sit on her head are now torn off. I might get some heat for this, but honestly, Twisted Cole looks more like a rat than a dog to me. Her Toon form is adorable, but I'm not super into her Twisted design very much. No disrespect to the creators, it's just my honest opinion. But hey, it's definitely scary, and that's the point of Twisteds, so it for sure gets the job done. Twisted Cole also has a very high attention span, being 8, nearly as high as Ginger's. By default, Cole is a rather normal speed and isn't insanely difficult to get away from, but she really becomes a problem during Blackout. This is the only Twisted to have their stats change in Blackout, as when you come across Cole on a Blackout floor, she has the same speed as Pebble, which is really bad. Meanwhile, Pebble's attention span is only 4 seconds, which is high, but Cole's is double that, which actually makes her more dangerous than Pebble on Blackouts. And on top of that, she doesn't have footsteps like Pebble does, so you never know where she is. She's extremely fast and very hard to shake off. Me and my friends have ran around entire maps and still could not escape her. Many people in the Dandy's World fandom have called her an unfair version of Pebble, and honestly, like, her speed changing in Blackout is a very cool concept for a Twisted, but her attention span I feel makes her a bit overpowered. But Cole's trinket is pretty funny. It's a lump of coal that makes most of your stats just worse. It's even worse than Shrimpo's brick trinket. Now I gotta do a Shrimpo run with this. For Cole's human design, I was trying to keep those cute eyebrows and angry face, and she's wearing a long gray winter cloak with, of course, a lump of coal in the middle with a bow. It turns those bags on her head into actual earmuffs with candy cane ribbons, and she's also wearing a cute candy cane scarf. Here is human Cole. Lastly on this list of holiday tunes, we've got Rudy. Rudy the reindeer appears as a deer with the candy cane antlers and a red nose. A big tuft of fur can also be seen around his neck, and the big smile on his face can tell you everything about Rudy, as he's very optimistic and loves everything about Christmas. He loves Christmas so much to the point where it's kind of his whole personality. No, I'm not kidding. Literally every single dialogue is Rudy raving about Christmas, oftentimes weirding out the other tunes in the process. Even Bobbit could not match Rudy's festiveness. And that's a lot considering she is a Christmas ball. Rudy has decent stats all around, with everything being 3 stars, making him a good all-rounder toon and more of a survivalist with his ability, which allows Rudy to quickly charge forward in a short burst, increasing his movement speed, which works in a pinch when trying to get away from Twisteds, especially if you're out of stamina. It's similar to Poppy, but he's able to activate it whenever. Rudy is also special in Blackouts, as similar to Britney, Rudy's red nose will glow in the dark, making it easier to see. I think something that would have been extra cool for an active ability would have been a jump and dash, allowing Rudy to shortly fly over Twisteds like a magical reindeer. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Twisted Rudy is one of the most common Twisteds, his eyes being red with tears of ichor. His left antler is much larger and completely covered in ichor, while the other is snapped off. His legs are also covered, and his nose is glowing bright red. When he spots you, he becomes angry with a sinister smile, and proceeds to charge forward with his antlers. While this Twisted doesn't have any special abilities, it does help that he glows because it makes it easy to know where he is on the map, giving you more time to hide, just like Britney but without the speed. So I'd say he's one of the easiest Twisteds to avoid in the game. For Rudy's human form, I went for a cutesy innocent vibe because he's just a silly guy who loves Christmas. He's wearing a candy cane striped sweater to match his candy cane antlers, and over that is a pair of overalls. His neck fluff really reminded me of a bandana, so I drew one around his neck. I know his most defining feature is his red nose, but as we all know, I don't draw noses, so instead, he has some very bright red rosy cheeks. Just imagine his entire face glows in the dark, and his hair is fluffy just like his ears. Here is human Rudy. First up on this list is Toodles. Toodles appears as a small girl with an 8-ball for a head, along with a white hoodie dress. Just like the number on her head, Toodles is 8 years old, making her the youngest and only minor toon so far in Dandy's World. Yep, that means all these other characters are adults. Being a kid, she's very energetic and always excited to go on adventures with the other toons. She especially looks up to Roger, always wanting to help Roger with his detective cases, further showing her curiosity like many kids would, insisting she goes along with him even if he says no at first. It's actually confirmed by Quell that, while they aren't related, Roger is a father figure to Toodles, which I love and is so cute. I mean, she literally has a detective skin to match with Roger. How cute is that? It's the best thing ever. She must be protected at all costs. Her stats are average, with having 4-star stealth, likely in reference to how small she is. But unfortunately, her extraction speed is rather slow. Her ability, Beginner's Luck, grants her a 15% boost to a random stat that lasts for 10 seconds, and has a cooldown of 25. This actually made me enjoy playing Toodles a lot. It was fun being able to use her ability so frequently, even if I did only buy her to get pebbles. Twisted Toodles, on the other hand, is not so innocent. She appears with her head now broken open, revealing ichor inside and leaking out. Her eyes are bloodshot red, along with a very wide and unnerving smile and very sharp fangs. Ichor can be seen dripping from her mouth and also on her arms and legs. When she chases you, she crawls towards you fast, like a baby on crack. She's definitely one of the scariest Twisteds. Not only does she look like a crazy iPad kid, or as many say, ankle biter, but what's even scarier is her insane speed. If you're a slow toon, you'll have a pretty hard time getting away from her, especially during panic mode. Despite only being an uncommon Twisted, she's one of the fastest in the game. Luckily, she does have a below average attention span, so usually you can get her off you pretty quickly. But if she catches you in a wide open space, good luck. Fun fact, Twisted Toodles used to be the second fastest Twisted in the game, right behind Pebble, but was put in third place after Twisted Glisten came along, and now she's in fourth place behind Twisted Bobbit. I especially hate getting Twisted Toodles in blackout. Girl, I can't even see you when you're right behind me. Anyways, Toodles is so precious, and she's one of my favorite toons. For her human design, I gave her an afro puff hairstyle, as well as a white streak in her hair to resemble that white circle on her forehead. I also included some cute 8-ball hair accessories and a number 8 hair clip. I kept that hoodie dress mostly the same, and to pair with it, she's wearing some baggy arm warmers that cover her hands because she's so small. And to top it off, she's holding her cute dog plush. Here is human Toodles. Whatever you do, don't take her iPad away. Up next, we've got Finn. Finn the fishbowl has a fishbowl full of water for a head, along with wearing an orange life jacket and white pants with orange stripes. His arms are also blue, but it's a mystery whether or not those are glass or just skin. Yeah, I have no idea. One of his most prominent features is his missing tooth. I wonder how he lost it. Finn's personality can be described as very extroverted and optimistic, always in the mood to talk to other toons and share his knowledge on marine life, oftentimes in a joking way. Finn is the literal embodiment of a walking pun book, always finding a way to squeeze his fishy puns into any conversation, sometimes making others laugh, but also annoying them, especially Glisten and Shrimpo. Regardless, he's actually really smart and knows a lot about fish. His stats are average, with a 4-star skill check, but 2-star stamina. So when playing as Finn, it's important to only sprint in dangerous situations, or else you may waste your stamina and run into trouble. His passive ability, Reelin, does give Finn a 33% speed boost when machines are completed for 10 seconds, which can be pretty helpful. So I'd say he's a fairly good survival toon. However, you definitely don't want to run into Twisted Finn. Instead of water, he is now filled with ichor. His legs are also completely gone, and as he moves, we can see a trail of ichor is left behind him. His eyes are red and his teeth are very sharp with a big smile. While he isn't the fastest Twisted, being chased by him isn't the only concern, as when you complete a machine, Twisted Finn applies slow to the player for a short period of time, making you very, very slow, especially if you're already a slow toon. So you really need to check your surroundings and make sure no Twisteds are near you before popping a machine. I've been in situations where I popped the machine right when being spotted by a Twisted, and it got me killed because it was impossible to run away. I hate getting Twisted Finn. In one of Finn's dialogues, Finn says he's made for fishing, so for human Finn, I really wanted to give him a fisher boy look. I drew his hair to look kinda shaggy, and he's wearing an orange bucket hat with a fish on it. He's wearing the same orange vest with a white shirt underneath, paired with blue and orange striped shorts. He's wearing fisher gloves as his job can get kinda messy, and I included freckles on his face. I definitely feel like Finn would have freckles. A fishing pole can be seen on his back. Here is human Finn. Here comes Connie the Ghost. Connie is one of the newer toons in Dandy's World, being a light blue colored ghost wearing a white visor hat and a white vest. Her hair is also very long and slightly darker than her skin tone. Her personality can be described as laid back, but also sarcastic, moody, and somewhat deceiving, as it's stated that Connie tends to lie about her achievements. When talking to others, she has a rather nonchalant and maybe a bit rude way of speaking. Judging by her dialogue, one of her hobbies is quote-unquote haunting things, which could very well point towards her enjoying causing trouble for fun. But despite some of these negativities, she's still good to her friends and looks out for them. She's especially great friends with Gigi, as they share similar traits and interests. Connie has great stealth and extraction speed, with average stamina, but not so great skill check. And her movement speed is terrible, like Shrimpo terrible. If she's getting chased and runs out of stamina, she's basically screwed. So when you're playing as Connie, you best hope you don't encounter a Twisted Pebble. Her saving grace from this is her ability though, Hunting Escape, where Connie can turn invisible and not be seen by Twisteds for 5 seconds. And don't get me wrong, while this is very useful, you can't always rely on it to save you, since it has a 50-second cooldown. So you still gotta be super careful when playing as Connie. Honestly, I've never actually played as Connie, but I'm not sure if I'd want to, because again, she's as slow as Shrimpo. Her ability is really the only reason I'd want to get her, and at that point, I'd rather be a fast character with slower extraction speed. But if you're really good at the game, she definitely isn't a bad toon. Twisted Connie is an uncommon Twisted, crying ichor with red eyes and crooked eyelashes. She's frowning with sharp teeth, probably because Toodles took a bite of her hat. Her hair is longer than before, and some parts are covered in ichor, as well as her hands. At first though, she appears in a transparent blue state, not harming players but just wandering the map, looking for machines to possess. If a player tries to extract a possessed machine, Connie will jump out and attack you, which you cannot avoid. You can tell if a machine's possessed by spotting the handle wiggling or the red light flashing blue and making noises, so it's pretty easy to avoid. And I've actually never been attacked by Connie before. Me and my friends joke that when we have Roger and Connie, it's basically a free floor, cause Connie doesn't do anything. In my opinion, she looks the most human compared to all the other toons. She basically is a human aside from her tail. Because she's so laid back, I drew Connie quite literally in a laid back pose. And of course, I kept her original white hat, but I did put her hair up in a ponytail that swirled at the end to resemble her ghost tail. She's wearing teal blue eyeshadow, and I turned her vest into a long sleeved crop top, which has the sleeves rolled up midway. Her mini skirt and socks are also teal blue. This design is super simple, but I think it suits Connie. I imagine in her past human life, she probably worked at Wendy's and didn't listen to her boss. Anyways, here is human Connie. Next up is Louie. Louie the Balloon is another toon that released not too long ago alongside Connie. He appears as a light yellow balloon with purple and green animal ears and cheeks, along with a balloon tail and polka dot shirt. Louie is a very happy and friendly toon. As his introduction card reads, Louie is part of a 3-toon circus act. Cheerful and bright, this toon lives to entertain others. So this means in the future, we may actually get to see his circus friends as new toons, which I'm super excited for. When he gets hit, his head slightly deflates, which is so funny to me. Like, his head gets so small. They're so goofy and I love them. Louie is overall a very great toon, having average stats with good skill check and somewhat low stealth. But what really makes Louie special is their passive ability, Heart of Helium. With this ability, each time Louie loses a heart, his movement speed increases by 20%. This means at 1 heart, Louie is a 5-star speed toon. What's even crazier is that Louie is actually faster than Pebble at 1 heart. Pebble's walk speed is 20, and his sprint is 30. Meanwhile, Louie at 1 heart has 21 walk speed and 35 sprint. This is crazy. I never expected us to get a toon as fast as Pebble. Never mind even faster. This makes Louie not only a great all-rounder, but an even greater distractor, and his low stealth definitely helps with that role. Unlike Pebble, he doesn't have an ability to take off aggro, so when distracting as Louie, it's best to have air horns. Obviously, the downside is that being at 1 heart all the time is really risky. So if you want to distract as a Louie and survive a long time, you gotta be pretty good at the job. I'd say that Louie is perfect for a backup distractor. He can choose to be an extractor at first, and if the current distractor dies, he can take over. So yeah, I think Louie is a great toon for basically everything. Twisted Louie is no longer cheerful, appearing with his eyes now red and a spiky tooth frown, with ichor dripping from his mouth. His balloon head is now floating, connected by a string. A massive ichor can be seen inside where his head once was. While he is a common twisted, unlike every other common twisted, his attention span and detection range are above average, making him the most annoying common twisted. Still, he's pretty easy to avoid. Also, I've seen a lot of people call Twisted Louie ugly, but hey, he is a goofy guy, so it makes sense his twisted also looks goofy. Stop bullying my boy. On a real note, I love Louie and he's easily one of my favorite toons. For his human design, I drew him with a choppy, messy hairstyle and still included his balloon ears, cause it's not Louie without them. By the way, I thought he was supposed to be a bunny, but I see everyone calling him a dog. Leave your thoughts in the comments. He's wearing that same polka dot shirt paired with oversized purple and green arm warmers. Yes guys, I love drawing oversized sleeves. Also, it pairs with his silliness. I also thought these overall shorts suit him well. Here is human Louie. Last but not least on this list, we've got V. Also being one of the 6 main toons, V is a light green TV with antennas on top, with one of them being crooked. V also has a retractable microphone tail. She's very confident in herself and likes to speak and think logically, which makes sense because she's literally a TV. V is very blunt and honest, frequently coming off as very unamused in many of her interactions with the other toons, oftentimes cutting conversations short or making snide remarks. She's also best known for her game show, with many of the toons being a fan of it. Even though her attitude may come off as harsh at times, V cares for others and is also good friends with Astro, seeming to always worry about him. However, it's made clear that V is not on good terms with Dandy, as heavily suggested by these dialogues. This is also the case for some other mains. I wonder what happened. V has exceptional extraction speed and skill check, but poor stealth and movement speed, which is why it's extra helpful to have a distractor with V on the team, so she can focus on getting machines done quickly. And in my opinion, V has some of the most useful abilities out of any toon, with her first ability, Mic Check, allowing her to highlight all twisteds on the floor for 5 seconds. This has seriously saved me so much trouble, especially in blackouts. Camera Hijack, her second ability, highlights unfinished machines around the map, making completing floors even quicker. On the other hand, her twisted form is nightmare fuel. Twisted V is very tall, just like many other main twisteds, with what seems to be an enraged expression. Her torso is now split apart with ichor inside. Her feet also covered in ichor, and her antennas are drooping. The mic tail is now visible. You'll know Twisted V is on your floor not only from her clinky footsteps, but also the advertisements. The ads. Even the ad block cannot stop Twisted V. We all hate hate these pop-ups, man. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've been on a machine, and then I get V's pop-ups and miss a skill check, and then V is right around the corner. And it doesn't help that she can hear failed skill checks from literally anywhere on the map. When V is chasing a player, slow will be applied, making getting away from her extra hard, especially if you're a super slow toon to begin with. While her detection range and attention span are high, at least she's not fast, though she seems fast when she applies slow. Fun fact, Twisted V actually used to have a different Twisted concept design, and honestly, I don't know which one I like more. Comment below which design you think is better. I gotta say, I had so much fun with this drawing. I wanted Human V to really look like a game show host, just like how she is as a toon. Starting with the outfit, she's wearing a light green suit jacket, along with that big bow tie in the middle. Below that, she's wearing some cyber-styled black pants. I included these pixel bar designs down the sides, since V is electronic after all. I knew I wanted her hair to resemble the shape of her TV head, so her hair is more rectangular shaped and more straight. She's wearing bright green eyeshadow, and I also included some green blush on her cheeks, which I think looks super cool. Here is Human V. First up, we're drawing the newest toon, Yata. Yata is a piñata that's yellow, pink, and blue. Literally my favorite colors. She has 2 big spikes on her head, topped off with colorful ribbons, and also has colorful ribbon hair. She also has several strands that act as her tail, and she has a cute smile with spiky teeth. She's a great all-rounder toon, with 4 movement and 5 extraction speed. Her stamina and stealth are low, but if you're a skilled player, that shouldn't be a problem. And anyone who does get her must be decent at the game, considering in order to buy Yata, you need 15 toons. I definitely say she's one of the best toons, and for sure the best all-rounder. Her ability, Piñata Party, drops random candy items when getting hit and when completing machines. Also, when she dies, she literally explodes into a pile of candy. That's so cool. Her counterpart, Twisted Yata, is another common Twisted, appearing with ichor now on her spikes, hair, tail, and hands. Her eyes are red and her smile is much wider, showing more fangs than before. Instead of using her legs, she now uses her tails to walk and chase you, which looks really freaky, especially that face.
Who cares, Sona? She's just another common Twisted.
Wrong! While commons are usually pretty slow, she is the most dangerous in the common category, being the only one to have above average speed. Other than that though, she isn't too bad, but in terms of design, she's definitely the scariest common. Her personality is described as super energetic and hyper. She's very jittery and hates keeping still, very similar to a little kid who's had too much candy. And what's also cool is that Yata is part of the same 3-toon circus as Louie, having the role of an acrobat. I wonder if she does tricks with her tail. Fans have wondered if Yata is supposed to be a piñata donkey, but Quell actually debunked this, revealing Yata is based off of the traditional 7-spike piñata, which is a cultural meaning of breaking free from sin and temptation. So it's very likely Yata is Hispanic. Out of all the toons, Yata's design is my favorite. It has so many cute details and the colors are perfect. For her human design, I wanted her outfit to be very fun and colorful. Because Yata is supposed to be an acrobat in a circus, I made her costume represent that. She's holding acrobatic ribbons to do tricks with, and I was sure to make her costume stand out a lot. I had so much fun adding all the details, and honestly, this is one of my favorite toons that I've drawn so far. Here is Human Yata. Next up is Sprout. Sprout is one of the 6 main toons in Dandy's World, being a red strawberry boy with a pink and white scarf. The leaves on his head resemble hair, and he also has freckles on his face. Sprout has good stats, with 5-star stamina and 4-star movement speed, making him great for distracting or quickly getting out of dangerous situations. His extraction and skill check are below average, but hey, at least you can get to machines quickly if you do want to extract. Sprout's ability, Baked Sweets, allows him to heal an injured toon at the cost of 100 tapes per heal, making him an amazing support character. And his passive ability lets Sprout see where every toon is and their health. He's described as very blunt and overprotective, but it's because he really cares about his friends, especially his best friend Cosmo, and they love baking together. Twisted Sprout, like all the other main Twisteds, appears vastly different. Along with being the tallest main Twisted, his scarf is now sentient, being spiked at the end and now covered in ichor, along with most of his body being overcome by it, including his arm, which is now massive with giant claws. The leaves on his head have sprouted even longer, with another leaf now being on his back. Sprout cries ichor with one visible red eye, as the rest of his face is covered. It's also confirmed that Twisted Sprout and Twisted Cosmo have matching ichor patterns. Many fans theorize Sprout and Cosmo were holding hands before they became fully twisted, which would explain their arms. This is super sad to think about and really shows us just how much they care for each other. While he is confirmed to be the slowest main Twisted in the game, he does have a high attention span. When he spots you, black tendrils are summoned from the ground, and attacks any toon who stands on it for too long. This can also make distracting Sprout in a loop annoying, as the tendrils will stay in your pathway for some time. I've been caught off guard a couple times. Still, he's the easiest main Twisted to deal with, at least in my experience. Obviously, I drew Human Sprout holding some strawberry cupcakes he made. Well, they were supposed to be cupcakes, but they look like... actually, I don't know. What even are those? He's wearing a simple cute red baker outfit, and of course I kept that scarf. His hair is green with a ponytail, and I layered his hair at the top like his leaves. Lastly, on his arm he's wearing a band with a strawberry. Here is Human Sprout. Coming up is Britney. Britney is a rose red lamp with a lampstand for a torso. She has white cheeks on her face and a white trim on the top of her lampshade, as well as white arms and red rose legs. Britney is a very smart toon and problem solver. She also loves reading books and runs her own book club for the other toons. Her stats are above average, with 4-star stamina and extraction speed, making her a very good extractor, and that extra stamina can help her in tricky situations. However, her stealth is 1, which can be very annoying to deal with, as Twisteds spot her very easily. This can also get in the way of distractors if she gets too close while they're distracting. Her ability Nightlight allows Britney to highlight all Twisteds on the map in blackouts for 8 seconds, which is very useful. And while it's not listed as an ability, she also glows in blackouts. I really wish her ability was useful in more than just blackouts because it would give me more of a reason to play her. I know Britney gets a lot of hate due to her stealth, but overall she is a good toon. Twisted Britney is an uncommon Twisted, appearing with Ichor now covering most of her head and one of her red eyes. Ichor can also be seen on her hand and both feet, and along with that her light bulb is now glowing bright red. Her attention span and detection range are above average, making it harder to get away from her. What's worse is that her special ability increases the chance of blackout on any floor where she appears, and no one likes blackouts. On the other hand, because her light is so bright, you're able to see where she is most of the time on the map, so you almost always know when she's coming, which gives you time to hide. So avoiding her is very easy. Something I found super funny about Britney's design is if you look underneath her head, it's literally a light bulb. I know it makes sense, but I found it so funny. Like, if the lamp was removed, she would look like this. For Human Britney, I knew I wanted to give her cute nerdy vibes since she's super into books and is very smart. Her hair is styled as a cute bob cut, similar to the shape of her lamp, and I turned that white trim into a cute beret hat. Of course, I gave her a book bag to hold her books for the book club, and her torso shape really reminded me of a dress. So she's wearing an overall dress with a cute vest underneath, and I topped her off with some glasses. Here is Human Britney. Last but not least, we're drawing Razle and Dazzle, 2 toons in 1. Razle and Dazzle appear as both comedy and tragedy masks, with Razle being the white mask and Dazzle being the gray one. Their facial expressions are opposite, showing their opposing personalities. Their neck is a ribbon-like scarf, along with a black shirt and two-toned skin. Razle is a very social and friendly toon, while Dazzle is more gloomy and tends to be negative, rather than positive most of the time. But even though they're opposites, they're both kind to each other and respect each other's differences. Their stats are average, having 3 stars on everything, making them a good all-rounder toon. But what really makes them stand out is their ability, Comedy Tragedy, which has them switch between stats, having higher movement speed on odd-numbered floors and higher extraction speed on even-numbered floors. With their skill check and extraction speed, Dazzle is the 2nd fastest toon at extraction, without trinkets. And same with Razle being one of the best distractors depending on the floor number. I rarely see people play as Razle Dazzle, but I hope to see more soon. Twisted Razle and Dazzle is another uncommon Twisted. Their 2 mask heads now being cut in half with Ichor in the middle. Razle has a very sinister smile, while Dazzle can be seen crying, both with red eyes. Their scarf is now tied to a weight on the ground, and Ichor can be seen on their hands. However, this is a very special uncommon Twisted, as they have 2 modes. Just like Twisted Glisten, in their passive state, you'll see them sleeping on the ground, surrounded by a circle of ribbons, rendering them harmless at first. But you must be careful, as running inside this circle will trigger Razle and Dazzle to awaken and attack. Just like Twisted Roger, Razle and Dazzle are stationary, so they can't chase you. And honestly, thank God. Their running animation is terrifying. But you can still walk in their circle and be just fine, just no sprinting. They're mostly a problem for new players who don't know any better. So if you do random runs, be sure to let everyone know not to run in the circle. Nothing sucks more than when you're doing a machine that's in the circle and someone else triggers it. I remember when I was a noob and I ran in their circle, everyone started screaming at me. It's unknown who tied them to the weight on the ground so that they can't walk. However, considering that Twisted Glisten likely tied his own hands together to not hurt his friends, there is a very big possibility that Razle and Dazzle did the same before going completely insane. But who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments. While I do love every single character design in Dandy's World, Razle and Dazzle has always really stood out to me, and I think the concept is so cool. It keeps their human form fairly simple and mostly focused on displaying their different personalities. Razle is very happy and waving, while Dazzle is not so thrilled and would rather go to his room and watch anime while eating Cheetos. I did my best to resemble their mask shape with the hair, and honestly, I think it turned out pretty cool. It was a little difficult at first to make their heads look right together, as I've never drawn conjoined twins before, but I'm very happy with the result. Here is Human Razle and Dazzle. First up is Koko. Koko is one of the 4 new Easter toons in Dandy's World, appearing as a light brown chocolate bunny with long floppy ears tied up to look like a ponytail. She has white neck fluff and a chocolate drizzle on her face topped up with a cute heart-shaped nose. Koko can be described as very sweet and kind, as well as super energetic. It's shown in many of her dialogues with others that she likes helping other toons and truly cares for her friends. She may help others too much though, with Eggson and Flight showing concern for her. Koko seems to have a very complicated relationship with Bassie, as both of their dialogues end with Bassie only pushing Koko away despite Koko being nice to her. This has confused a lot of Dandy's World fans, but this is actually because of a really dark secret, which we'll talk more about later when I draw Bassie. There's some really deep lore with these new toons. She's a great toon with 4-star speed and stealth, with not so great extraction and stamina. So I'd say these stats can make for a great distractor and survival toon. Her active ability allows Koko to place down bonbon candy for anyone to pick up, granting 50% extraction speed boost and 25% movement speed boost for 5 seconds. I really want to eat that. Twisted Koko is a rare type of twisted, appearing now with ichor covering her legs, hands, and ears. One of her red eyes is half closed and also leaking ichor. Kinda looks like she got punched in the face. While she may seem slow at first, don't be fooled. The moment she spots you, she hops towards you very fast. She's even faster than Toodles, making her currently the 3rd fastest twisted, not including Bobbit. So if you're a slower toon like V or Connie, definitely avoid her as much as possible. Luckily, she's got a super short attention span, so you can get her off you easily once you find something to hide behind. Honestly, Koko has got to be one of the cutest toons I've ever seen, and I love her so much. Not to mention, her trinket is very stylish and I want to eat it. Koko always talks about how much she loves bonbons, so she's eating one. For her hairstyle, I turned those ears into a long split ponytail, and her white hairband reminded me of whipped cream, so I drew it as a whipped cream themed scrunchie. In Koko's idol animation, she strokes her ears like hair, which is so cute, and I'd imagine she would love collecting scrunchies, so she's also wearing some as bracelets. She's wearing a plaid overall dress with a white top underneath. I think she turned out super adorable. Here is human Koko. Next up is Eggson. Eggson is an old man with a half-boiled egg for a head and a pair of yellow glasses. He wears an orange and yellow striped vest with a white undershirt that has yellow cuffs and buttons. A yellow bow tie can be seen in the middle, and he holds an orange walking cane. And fun fact, Eggson is a previous egg hunt champion, and he loves telling stories, even saying how much he misses the old Roblox egg hunts. This is kind of crazy because Eggson basically broke the 4th wall, like he's aware he lives inside a game. I wonder what else he knows. Almost all of his interactions with other toons is about eggs, so needless to say, he really likes them, though we can assume he doesn't eat them, unless he's a cannibal. Aside from his egg obsession, or should I say egg session, okay sorry, he's a great grandpa character, always giving other toons advice with his wisdom, and overall he's a very jolly toon, and he magically doesn't need his walking cane when he runs. Very impressive. He has average stats with 3 stars in everything, making him a good all-rounder toon, but what really makes him special is his ability, which automatically grants 10% completion on each machine, which allows him to go through floors quicker. Twisted Eggson is a very common twisted. No, like seriously, he's more common than Poppy. I see him constantly. Anyways, he appears with ichor now covering half his face and his right arm and leg. It's a very small detail, but we can also see his cane now has ichor and is spiked at the tip. His face is very grumpy to say the least. I guess you could say he's a rotten egg. Being a common, he's really easy to avoid and get away from since he doesn't really have any special abilities, but it's so funny that when he attacks you, he literally beats you with his cane. Get off my gosh dang lawn! Eggson has a super unique design, and the outer part of his egg being brown is actually very clever, since super old eggs actually do turn brown on the outside. Or he could also be a braised egg, which are super delicious. I gave him short stylish hair, first starting with white roots, and then turning brown for that boomer look. I kept his outfit mostly the same, with the addition of some light brown dress pants. I also added a cute bow tie to his cane. Here is human Eggson. Now we're drawing Bassie. Bassie is a new main toon, appearing as a light brown colored basket girl with flowers on her head, and she wears a purple shirt with a long pink flower skirt below, paired with striped green socks. Bassie is a kind and gentle toon who loves nature and enjoys collecting flowers, though she also comes off as very anxious and paranoid. Her stats are great, being as fast as Pebble and having very good stamina and stealth, but not so good extraction and skill check. She's a great survival toon and distractor as long as low stealth toons don't get in the way. Her first ability allows her to drop items for other other toons. And her second ability gives her a 4th inventory slot. Both of these are so useful, and overall I'd say Bassie is one of the best toons. That being said though, Bassie really isn't like other toons, and the truth about her is so much darker than we'd expect. There's a note located in the new Easter map that's written by Delilah Keene, one of the founders of Garden View. The note reads, "I don't think she should be a main toon. It's clear she relies too much on other toons she is close with. Please reconsider. I know this is very last moment, but I'm unsure she could handle the public pressure of being a main toon." It's pretty clear that in this note, Delilah is talking about Bassie. She doesn't think Bassie should be a main. This is why Bassie acts so paranoid. It's because she knows they don't think she's good enough, which makes her super insecure. This is further implied when Bassie completes machines and says, "I'm doing my part over and over again," and saying, "I'm finishing these just like everyone else," while laughing nervously. This is Bassie desperately trying to convince herself she's good enough, since so much is expected of her as a main toon. She's trying her best to be like the others and is afraid of not being able to keep up. Her twisted form is much taller, now having what seems to be sprouted vines for legs and a giant arm covered in ichor. Ichor leaks from her head, and she has a very disturbing facial expression. Like, girl, what happened to you? Her speed is above average, but what really makes Twisted Bassie dangerous is her ability, as when she spawns on your floor, large flowers will be placed all over the map. When you go near these flowers, it will slow you down significantly, which can put you in very dangerous situations. So when you cross by these flowers, make sure no Twisteds are around, and definitely avoid these while getting chased. I have literally died because of these flowers. Her Twisted research says, the fear of never living up to others' expectations has caused her to act out in desperation, further showing the pressure she was in before going insane. Not only is Bassie insecure about not being good enough, but also is afraid of being replaced, as proven in a dialogue with Bobbit where Bassie asks if it's possible for her to be replaced. But who does she think she would be replaced by? Well, that replacement would be Koko. Looking around the new Easter floor, we can see a shelf with Bassie and Koko plushies. And why is this so out of the ordinary? Well, that's because before this, there has only ever been plushies of the main toons, and no one else. This heavily implies that Koko was supposed to replace Bassie as the new main toon. This perfectly explains why Bassie acts so cold towards Koko in their dialogues, saying she doesn't want any help from Koko and that she isn't like her. And Koko also saying she can't stop being excited for Easter, with Bassie responding, "Of course you can't stop thinking about it," which is Bassie implying Koko is excited because she's going to take her place as a main toon. We don't know if Koko was actually aware of any of this, but it's possible. In the new Easter map, there's a hidden room with ichor covering Bassie's posters, and the spelling "get her" all over the walls written in ichor, along with the words "I'm sorry." There's honestly so many theories on what this could mean, but let me know what you think in the comments. I'm so interested in seeing what you guys come up with. Bassie has got to be one of the most interesting toons to come out, and I'm so excited to learn more about her. Now on to human Bassie. I love Bassie's spring theme, especially the colors. I added some sheer lilac off-shoulder sleeves to her shirt and gave her a cute flower basket for collecting flowers, since that's a hobby of hers. She has these super cute flower hair buns, and I knew I wanted to include her basket handles in some way, so I took inspiration off of this hoop braid hairstyle, and I think it turned out super pretty. Paired that with a flower crown, and I think she looks so adorable. Here is human Bassie. Last but not least is Flight. Flight appears as a tall cyan blue butterfly with clover antennas. He wears a dark teal cloak and also has pink neck fluff, topped off with a pastel pink pair of wings with clover markings. He has no visible mouth or arms. Also, real quick, I just want to say my friend calls him Flute, which is hilarious. You may be thinking Flight looks really similar to Flutter, and that's because he's her sibling. Despite not having a mouth, Flight can actually talk perfectly fine, unlike Flutter, who is mute. This also means it's possible Flutter can talk despite not having a mouth, but simply chooses not to. He's kind to his friends and also worries a lot about those he cares for, especially his sister Flutter. It's also implied in his conversations with Koko and Roger that he may know more dark secrets compared to the other toons, meaning he might be hiding something that we aren't supposed to know. And I'd bet it has to do with the whole Bassie situation, but let me know what your theories are in the comments. What do you think Flay is hiding? He has good stats with 4-star movement and 4-star extraction, along with 3-star stealth, overall making him a good distractor, extractor, or survival toon. His ability allows him to create a gust of wind that any toon can walk in and get a 15% speed boost for 10 seconds. So similar to Tisha's ability, Twisted Flight is a rare Twisted, with ichor stained wings and red eyes. His clovers have become pointed, and he wears a very angry facial expression, with his feet also covered in ichor. Twisted Flight has above average speed, and just like Flutter, he never stops moving, always patrolling the map and circling around very quickly. So you better finish those machines fast before he comes back. Flutter is still faster than him though. Flight is a really cool toon, and I love his design. Also, I found it interesting by default that he doesn't fly while Flutter Flutter does. But his running animation is so cute. Anyways, I imagine Flight to dress more on the preppy side and be very well put together. He seems more like the leader type to me, and he's a very good friend as well as brother. He's wearing a light blue vest and white shirt paired with a dark teal cloak, as well as a cute pink scarf to replace that neck fluff. Lastly, I gave him some short scruffy blue hair with some clover boppers. Here is Human Flight. First up, we've got Blot. Blot is the newest toon in Dandy's World, being introduced as a gray colored ink blob with half of the ink covering his face like hair. Bro is literally emo. He wears a black and white striped shirt paired with some white gloves. We can also see that he's wearing mime makeup on his face. And fun fact, Blot actually is a mime that's part of the 3-toon circus act alongside Louie and Yata. He does some really cool mime tricks and also leaves ink drops on the floor when moving. I think bro needs some toilet paper. For stats, he's well above average, with 4-star movement and 5-star stamina, making him a great distractor. I can literally run across the map twice with Blot and still have stamina to spare. His ability also allows him to place down a Blot Jr. Wait, did he just give birth? This decoy can distract nearby Twisteds, and it only costs 10 tapes. Overall, Blot is great for distracting and getting out of bad situations. Twisted Blot is very rare. No, like, I swear guys, I see the Twisted mains more than him. Sometimes I forget he's even in the game. Eye-core is on most parts of his body. His eyes are now red, and his mime makeup is now smeared. Not gonna lie, when I first saw Twisted Blot, I assumed he had a bathroom accident. Luckily, like Roger and R&D, Blot himself is mostly harmless, as he just sits on the floor and doesn't move. But what makes this Twisted so dangerous is his mechanic where he spawns large claws made of eye-core all around the map. They spawn super randomly, sometimes even blocking machines or being directly on top of research capsules. After a while, they will move somewhere else, but if you get too close, they'll hit you, and it's pretty hard to dodge. This is also the only way to get research for Blot. Like Bassy's flowers, these hands can put you in really bad situations if you come across them while already being chased. Like, you're basically screwed. A fun fact about Blot is that he cannot speak English. Well, okay, kind of. He talks backwards. Some of the toons seem to understand him pretty well, while others have no idea what he's saying. I'm sorry, I literally cannot read that. Overall, he's kind to his friends and shows concern for them. I honestly love this character, and for Human Blot, I really wanted to show off the fact that he's a mime. I kept his striped shirt and paired that with some overalls, as well as some neck ruff for extra pizzazz. I know a human wouldn't have ink hair, but I kept his hair as ink anyways. This hairstyle kind of reminds me of Sasuke. If I wasn't going for the mime look though, I'd definitely go for the emo Hot Topic vibe. I know Blot is into MCR. I think he turned out really cool, or in Blot terms, oh, he'll run. Here is Human Blot. Up next is Flutter. Did you know Flutter wasn't even supposed to be in Dandy's World? Apparently Quell almost scrapped Flutter completely, but liked her design so much that she got put in anyway. So that's a fun fact. Flutter appears as a light pink butterfly with light blue wings including heart patterns, along with a purple dress and some darker purple neck fluff. She has light blue eyeshadow and antennas with small purple hearts. Literally one of the cutest designs ever. Flutter is the only toon in the game who is completely mute, as all of her dialogues consist of ... exclamation marks, or question marks as a way to express herself rather than words. Many people assumed in the fandom that she cannot talk due to not having a mouth, but Quell did confirm Flutter in fact does have a mouth, we just can't see it. The other toons understand her even when she doesn't say anything, so maybe she's speaking with her mind all along. We're not sure if Flutter chooses to be mute or is just unable to talk. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Either way, despite being mute, she's a very social butterfly and super positive. With 4-star movement and stamina, she's a really great distractor. Her ability also allows her to dash forward, which is great for getting out of a pickle. Her twisted counterpart is rare, now looking like her wings came from Hot Topic. The hearts on her antennas are now pointed and sharp, topped off with an unsettling pair of red eyes. Honestly, Twisted Flutter is one of my least favorite Twisteds. She's fast, has a higher attention span so it's hard to shake her off you, and worst of all, she never stops moving. Twisted Flutter patrols the map constantly, never taking a break like the other Twisteds. This makes her loop maps much quicker, meaning you're way more likely to get caught by her when doing a machine. And it really doesn't help that her normal speed is the same as regular toons' running speed. I swear, I'll be on a machine and Flutter will see me like 2 or 3 times because she loops around so quickly. Out of all the toons, Flutter definitely has to be one of my favorite characters in the game. She's just so cute and must be protected at all costs. For her human design, it gave her a cute short hairstyle that matches the shape of her head, kind of like a curly bob cut. Turns that neck fluff into a cute scarf, and you already know I kept the wings. Let's just pretend she's cosplaying. Her purple dress has transformed into a cute shawl with a pink layer underneath. I also included some pretty butterfly hair clips. Here is Human Flutter. Coming up is Pebble. Pebble is one of the main toons and appears as a pet rock, representing a small dog with clover patterns on his face, a rock tail, tiny pebbles for feet, and googly eyes that are a little cross-eyed. Pebble has 5-star speed and 4-star stamina, but really bad extraction speed, being at a single star. His first ability allows him to bark to take the attention of Twisteds, and his second ability highlights all items on the map. So needless to say, he's a great distractor and terrible extractor. Contrary to what you may think, Pebble wasn't originally created for distraction. He was just made to be an extremely high survivability toon. While his extraction speed sucks, he's more likely to survive than most due to his incredible speed. Distracting was just invented by the community, so if you want to be a Pebble and not distract, you don't have to. And while many people call Pebble the fastest toon, Bassie has the same speed, R&D is just as fast on odd number floors, and Louie is even faster than Pebble at 1 heart. Regardless, he still is considered the best toon for distracting, and he's the cutest. Twisted Pebble appears completely different from before, and is no longer very wholesome. All of his limbs are made of ichor and very elongated, paired with a giant mouth with a very large set of sharp canine teeth. Those cute googly eyes are now bloodshot as he patrols the map, growling and searching for his next chew toy. And he also somehow grew ears. Well, I guess that's the least of our worries. Since he's a main Twisted, luckily he doesn't appear very often. If you've ever dealt with a Twisted Pebble, you know he's the worst possible Twisted you can get, besides Goobs and Scraps. Not only are his looks terrifying, but so are his stats, as Pebble is the fastest Twisted in the entire game. So if you're a slow toon and you get caught in his sight, yeah, it was a good run, gamer. But it's over. Not only that, he also has a very high attention span. It's very hard to shake him off you. I've literally had Twisted Pebble spot me from the other side of the map more than once. Anyways, moving on to my drawing. I've gotten a lot of comments asking me to draw Pebble as an actual dog, but why would I do that when I could turn him into a human? Pebble is super small and cute, so right off the bat, I knew I wanted to keep that about him. So I'm drawing human Pebble as a kid for this one. While Toodles is confirmed to be the only underage toon in the game, I feel like Pebble would be too. I kept those silly googly eyes, and he's sticking his tongue out like a dog would. He's just so goofy. His hair is scruffy like animal fur, and for clothes, he's wearing a short sleeve hoodie with a cute bone design. Overall, I really wanted his outfit to be a bit more athletic since he loves running around so much. I felt like Pebble wouldn't wear shoes, and I also felt like his toe would be poking out, so there you have it. He's also wearing a dog collar with a little pebble tied to it. I just thought that would be really cute. I still kept his clover markings the same, and I imagined that Toodles will be best friends with Pebble as a human since they're both kids, so my headcanon is that she put paint on his face for fun. Lastly, I also included a dog bone hair clip. Twisted Pebble was kind of traumatizing to make. He literally looks like a failed lab experiment. I think he turned out super adorable. Here is human Pebble. The very last toon that we're gonna draw, no, like literally there's no other toons left, is Tegan. Tegan appears as a white teacup with a light yellow trim. She has golden eyeshadow and droopy eyes with long lashes, and also wears a very sparkly golden dress and gloves, topped off with a fluffy white shawl. And apparently, inside her head is sweet tea, according to Quell. So I guess we can say Tegan is very sweet. Their stats are fairly average, with higher stamina but low stealth. However, their ability makes up for it, as she can heal herself with 100 tapes, making her the only self-healing toon in the entire game. This is extremely useful on higher floors when you've collected so many tapes and don't know what to do with them. It's basically infinite heals. Because of this, Tegan is one of the best survival toons. However, a lot of people don't like having Tegan on their team because they think she hogs all the tapes, especially when there's a sprout and it becomes a full-on tape war. But hey, you'll have a teammate who can very well outlive everyone else, and I think that's pretty valuable. Twisted Tegan is uncommon, appearing with ichor covering her mouth, arms, and having angry red eyes. So very similar to Twisted Shrimpo. Her dress is now very torn, and we can see the tea inside the teacup is now cursed. That's right, cursed tea. Probably shouldn't drink that. Twisted Tegan's speed is higher than most, as well as a high attention span to top it off. But what makes Twisted Tegan super annoying is their mechanic where if they hit you, they literally steal your tapes. Okay, first you gotta take my heart, now you take my money? Gold digger. Legend has it that Twisted Tegan is actually an evil tax collector, and if you don't pay your taxes, Tegan will find your house and collect your soul as payment. Yeah, I'm recording this as a ghost. We don't know exactly how many tapes she takes when she hits you. It might just be a really random amount, but all I know is that Twisted Tegan is Sprout's arch nemesis. I think Tegan is a really good survival toon, and honestly, I never see anyone play as her. And in my opinion, she's a very underrated toon. If you think Tegan is underrated, comment hashtag justice for Tegan. Anyways, I was so excited to draw human Tegan because she's so retro and classy, and I really just wanted to give them Cuphead vibes. For their hairstyle, I gave them that Marilyn Monroe look paired with a cute hat themed after a teacup. I added a bit more makeup to her face for that extra fancy look, And of course, she's holding a teacup since Tegan loves throwing tea parties. Did you know that Tegan knows every single Toon's favorite tea? Personally, my favorite tea is Hojicha. If you guys have a favorite, comment below. I didn't change her outfit much because it's already so fabulous. They're just an icon. For the twisted form, she's holding her coin purse with a bunch of tapes in it, and she's ready to collect your taxes. Here is human Tegan. Be sure to hide your tapes. Thank you broskies so much for watching. I had so much fun drawing literally every single Dandy's World toon. I know there's more that's gonna come out and I'll definitely continue drawing them, but I thought it'd be really cool to make this giant compilation video. Be sure to comment below some of your favorite toons that I drew. I honestly can't choose. I'm highly considering drawing Dandy's World OCs next since I love Dandy's World. So if you really want to see that, be sure to like the video, and okay, bye!